In the wasteland, there's an ever-dwindling population of old people. Whether they live long enough to go batshit crazy and become addicted to chems, or simply get their skin melted off by the idea of watching colour TV. But what if I told you that I can scientifically prove I can 3x their population in 1 week? Can you beat Fallout 4 with a walking cane? Like any great PTSD-filled war story, there is a man behind the Apache helicopter. A man so fragile that throwing a polystyrene frisbee at his leg will decapitate it. A man so dysfunctional that Stephen Hawking's drowning in a pool makes him look like an Olympian swimmer. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Old Man Jenkins. Now, to be the most stair-falling, uncontrollable bowel-moving old man in the Commonwealth, there are some specific stats that need to be used. I dropped 2 into strength to make his swing more useful than a wet tissue on the bathroom wall, but not rendering me completely useless as it gives me access to big leagues. I dropped 7 into endurance for the survivability factor and adamantium skeleton, meaning that one day I can finally catch that polystyrene frisbee without losing an arm. 9 into agility, giving me more action points than Bill Gates' wallet, and finally 4 in luck and 4 in charisma. Forgetting which platform I needed to head to, I was finally able to witness a Michael Bay movie scene firsthand, which caused me to shit myself a little. I collected a fresh pair of clothing, tried to get into a coffin that wasn't mine, and witnessed the murder of my wife, which when I woke up, I completely forgot about. As any old man would do without his walking stick, I sprinted past all the cockroaches, with each step reminding me that a new pair of clothing was absolutely pointless. So when I got to the top, I found a nice clean radiated stream to give my clothes a wash, which didn't end so well as they dissolved in the water. As Cosworth took care of the bug infestation of Sanctuary, I decided to do some light reading for educational purposes. Because if 1 book a day equals knowledge, imagine what 2 books a day equals. Leaving Dogmeat behind and knowing that the Great Gravy Train is going to sort out his local crackhead problem in front of the Museum of Freedom, it was time for me to head to Lexington Pharmacy to collect my walking cane. But before I could get there, I got a little bit distracted and offered my services to Wolfgang and his partner. And by services I mean go and rob the store as they shoot each other, and offered the perfect distraction for Trudy's death and her new suntan. Getting lost for a good 10 minutes in Lexington, I finally came across the local Viagra dispensary, where I was united with the almighty walking cane, only to be disappointed for the 1 millionth time as I returned to Preston to find that he had done absolutely nothing. As he shot like a stormtrooper, I decided to take matters into my own half-naked hands, coming to the conclusion that blood all over my hardwood was a lot more stimulating than taking a blue pill. Entering the Museum of Freedom, I decided to take this newfound stimulation to greater heights, aggressively making my way through the raiders until too much blood got to my head and I ended up passing out. With Preston still not understanding what the word no means, it was time to take the backhand action to Dirty Gristle and his boys, and with blood on my pimp stick, no one stood a chance. Even the Deathclaw knew that life was simply better being dead. Some would say I had become the messiah of the Commonwealth. With my miracle work done in Concord, it was finally time to make tracks to Diamond City, where I seduced Jennifer for not the last time, stole a key to a cereal box factory, and took the law into my own hands to provide the chef with some well-needed new ingredients. As I journeyed on, I decided to go and check on my Reader's Digest subscription, only to find it doesn't get delivered on Sundays and Deadeye is quite precise for being blind. It was rather suspicious if you ask me. Like any good melee build, it was time for Hebrews Comics to reclaim the holy loincloth, only finding out that ghouls have no respect for the elders as I was pushed downstairs on multiple occasions, tripped over and shoved into lockers. Even after baptizing one in a sink, the exorcism of Hebrews Comics was a task no holy man should encounter. Looking like an absolute sex symbol of the Commonwealth, it was finally time for Papa John's Pizza Shop, where Italian genocide never felt so right. Even after throwing a rubbish bin down the stairs to give them the upper hand, staging a love affair, kissing a piece of pasta on the forehead goodnight, and taking Darla's rejection too far, Valentine still wanted to give me a helping hand, to only have one of the most uncomfortable moments in Fallout I have ever experienced unfold. The sexual tension is real. With Dogmeat forcing his way into my story with his smoking addiction, it was finally time for Fort Kellogg, which is where I knew that I was the chosen one. Defying the definition of material hardness as I smashed metal to pieces with my wood and worked miracles once again by teleporting into rooms, I was convinced I was born again a god. Even invisibility was mere child's play to me. The cereal box faced the true wrath of Pimp Lord the Messiah. So I stole his brain, checked his internet history, witnessed a metal pickle use spotlights during the day, threaded Amari with scissors to join my cult, ran over hentai tentacles, which meant it was time once again for the glowing sea. And just like walking over water, I performed my fifth miracle as I touched an alpha deathclaw behind some trees. Oh, and how could I forget? Don't drink and fly, kids. Making it to Virgil's, I fell asleep as he explained how I was going to get the Corsa chip. Escaping from the grip of boredom, I proved furthermore that I had the touch of God, as another deathclaw went flying in the air. Strangely enough, Green Tech Genetics was a walk in a park this time around, only amounting to a single death and several cases of short-term dementia, but was disappointed in R2-D2's ways of invisibility, so I taught it that only one man can do the Lord's work. Got the Corsa chip, and in the name of Old Man Jenkins, sacrificed a human in good faith along with a true abomination into the pits of hell. Which leads me into the story of how I portrayed the most confused faction in the series and sided with a bunch of deranged humans. As I breathed down Tom the Tinkerman Taylor's neck, I had the most amazing idea. What if I did the Railroad quest line? I know, why would I even bother? But I have a really good reason for it. Falling asleep at the wheel once again as Deacon shamefully tried to give me a gun to use, and witnessing Dr. Carrington become the fastest man awake, the Railroad taught me that nothing should get in your way to get your daily steps in. After stealing a sensor module in plain sight, it was finally time to enter phase 2 of my devilish, holy plan. Infiltrate the Institute and string the Railroad along for a ride while the Brotherhood of Steel was still in a neutral standpoint. Now at this point in time, there may be a couple of you screaming at your screen. Why? Why would you put yourself through the pain? Funny enough, I learned a couple of things on this debacle, such as clowning over a ship rope and using Bethesda's top tier physics leads to being annihilated by a fat man and raiders appearing behind you. Having all factions neutral means that Bunker Hill literally becomes a walk in the park, while knights spawn on the roofs and clipping through walls is better than using a door. Who would have thought being AFK for 30 minutes would do you no harm? Paying Ellie a good amount of bottle caps to spend the night with me, I was to relay on top of the mass fusion tower to slap around some Brotherhood of Steel technology to acquire the beryllium agitator. And you named it, the Great Security Lockdown. But guess what? I ended up dying as I looked away from my screen for 1 second. That's it, just 1 second. And well, my last save point was at the most painstaking section of the game, the goddamn board meeting. This hurt my brain so much that I thought waiting would cause the game just to hurry up, which obviously it didn't. I have never smashed buttons so hard in my life. Fueling all my frustration on the poor soul of an aspirant, I managed to knee him for a home run. My man was going straight to the moon, and life simply became good again. And I'm not gonna lie, I was drinking a cup of water while this happened and I spattered all over my screen. It was glorious. Reaching the beryllium agitator, it was time for the infamous lockdown. But with luck on my side, Blitz went to work on the turrets, and having a stupid amount of action points in my pocket meant that I could slowly chip away at the sentry bot. To where I died again as he blew his load, but it was all okay because second time around, job well done. Life hack tip 501. Receiving a full Assaultron blast to the face is the most stimulation you'll ever receive. You can thank me later. With Ali wanting to leave her husband for me after all the excitement I gave her and finding a simp playing hide and seek, there were only a few more steps until I had the Commonwealth in the palm of my hand. The council had spoken. The Brotherhood of Steal Your Appliances was the next target, along with my favorite to kill, the Railroad. Because honestly, who really wants them to survive? And like Michael Jackson at a playground, I made quick work of Desdemona and the rest of the Railroad. Especially Glory. How dare she have such a false prophet name?
Shame. shame.
Making my way to Boston Airport, I destroyed the Brotherhood's counterfeit UFO toasters, snuck up behind a knight to show him the pleasure of the cane, and smited Ingram with the great hand of Pimp Lord Messiah for being such a monstrosity to man. The ending couldn't get more poetic than this. That was until Adolf Maxson appeared on the roof and ruined it all. But that was okay, because watching a simp pleasure a giant robot to turn on the enemy is what I'm all about. And just like having sex for the first time, it was all over in seconds. The Brotherhood of Steal Your Toaster were no more. An old man named Father, who was actually my son, was no more. The walking cane prevailed. And it only took me a good 8.5 hours with me reaching level 21 in the process. And never again will I do the Institute ending because boy, that was such a drag. Anyway, I hope you all have enjoyed the video and let me know down below if there's any specific runs you'd like me to try. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more shenanigans like this. I hope you all have a fantastic day and remember, Yogi Bear needs loving too.